Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down the foundational concepts from Dr. Nader Iranpour's book, Information Security Fundamentals. Now, when most of us hear the words information security, our minds instantly jump to a Hollywood movie scene, right? You know the exact one. A hooded hacker furiously typing away in a pitch-black room, green code reflecting off their glasses, while a team of frantic IT experts tries to patch a firewall in real time. It's dramatic, it's exciting. But what if I told you that true information security isn't just a technical battle fought in cyberspace? What if the absolute greatest risks to an organization are actually entirely conceptual?
Okay, let's dive into this. Cast your mind back to May 2021. The Colonial Pipeline, which is the largest fuel pipeline in the whole United States, suffered a catastrophic ransomware attack. And I mean, operations were completely paralyzed. We're talking fuel shortages hitting the East Coast within hours, massive price spikes, airlines scrambling to find jet fuel, and a literal state of emergency being declared. Now, you might be thinking an attack of that magnitude must have required some masterfully complex state-sponsored exploit. But it didn't. No way. The attackers got in using a single, compromised password for an old VPN account that simply hadn't been deactivated. The pipeline didn't fail because they lacked expensive, shiny security tools. It failed because they hadn't thought systematically about managing the lifecycle of their accounts. The gap wasn't technical at all. It was conceptual.
Because if we really want to grasp why systems fail, we need to understand a somewhat dark but honestly hilarious truth about this field. It was famously articulated by security expert Eugene H. Spafford. He basically said, the only truly secure system is one that is powered off, cast in a block of concrete, and sealed in a lead-lined room with armed guards, and even then, he has his doubts. It's a brilliant analogy because it proves that perfect security is a total myth. I mean, think about it. If a system is perfectly locked down, it's completely unusable. Information security is always about strategically balancing robust protection with actual operational utility. You have to be able to use the data you're trying to protect. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the distinction it makes between cybersecurity and information security. We tend to use these terms interchangeably all the time in everyday conversation, but they are absolutely not the same thing. Cybersecurity focuses pretty narrowly on protecting digital assets and networks from threats in cyberspace. So think of your firewalls, your malware protection, your incident response teams. Information security, however, is the much broader, overarching discipline. It focuses on protecting all forms of information. That could be a digital database, sure, but it's also a physical filing cabinet or even a highly sensitive conversation happening in the corporate hallway. Basically, cybersecurity is an essential tool, but information security is the entire strategic house.
And to govern that entire strategic house, the industry relies on a foundational map, universally known as the CIA triad. And no, before you ask, we are not talking about the intelligence agency here. We're talking about confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Every single security control an organization puts in place, from a physical lock on a door to the most advanced encryption algorithms, exists to protect one or more of these three pillars. They are the ultimate, non-negotiable goals of effective information protection. So let's take a closer look at how they actually work together.
The C stands for confidentiality. This is usually what most people automatically picture when they hear the word security. Keeping secrets safe, right? Confidentiality ensures that only authorized individuals, processes, or systems can view or handle sensitive information. If your company has proprietary trade secrets, unreleased financial reports, or highly sensitive employee records, confidentiality is the principle that keeps that data out of the hands of competitors or unauthorized staff. It's absolutely crucial. But remember, keeping a secret is only one piece of the puzzle. Next up, the I stands for integrity. Integrity ensures that your data remains accurate, consistent, and totally trustworthy throughout its entire lifecycle. Just imagine you're checking out on an e-commerce website. You put an item in your cart that costs $100. Well, if an attacker, or honestly even just a software glitch, can alter that price to $1 single right before you click purchase, that business is in serious trouble. Unauthorized modifications destroy business trust instantly. Integrity guarantees that when you look at a piece of information, you can trust for a fact that it hasn't been tampered with. Finally, we have the A, availability. This is the property that ensures authorized users have reliable, timely access to systems and data exactly when they need it. Remember our block of concrete analogy from earlier? A computer encased in solid concrete has incredible confidentiality and integrity, but literally zero availability. If an ER doctor can't access a patient's medical records during a life or death emergency because the server happens to be down, that system has fundamentally failed. And at that point, it doesn't matter how well encrypted the data is. To show you just how critical availability really is, look at this number, 340. In our source material, there's this fascinating case study about a financial tech company called NovaPay. They experienced a processing outage that lasted just 4 hours. That's it. No data was lost, no hackers breached their network. But in the 48 hours following that brief little outage, NovaPay's support team received 340 frantic calls from merchants and banks demanding to know if their money and transactions were safe. Even without a single data breach, that brief lack of availability severely damaged the trust their clients had built up with them. Make no mistake, downtime destroys trust just as fast as a breach does. Let's move to and see how this builds into the modern era. The CIA triad is incredibly important, but as our digital ecosystems have become just massively interconnected, we're talking cloud computing, third-party APIs, remote work environments, the triad alone isn't quite enough anymore. We have to extend our protection into what Dr. Iranpour calls the digital confidence framework. This is all about verifiable trust. In a world where systems are constantly automatically talking to other systems, we need absolute assurance about exactly who is acting and what they are allowed to be doing. The very first pillar of this modern digital confidence is authenticity. In a digital ecosystem, you simply cannot rely on assumptions. Authenticity is the rigorous assurance that an entity or a piece of data is exactly who or what it claims to be. So when you log into your online bank, your web browser checks the bank's digital certificate behind the scenes. It's cryptographically verifying that you are actually talking to your real bank and not some malicious middleman sitting in a coffee shop intercepting your Wi-Fi connection. Authenticity is the essential first link in the chain of trust. And this brilliantly illustrates the next pillar, non-repudiation. This is such a powerful concept. If authenticity verifies an identity at the start of a transaction, non-repudiation preserves undeniable proof at the end of it. It provides cryptographic evidence that a specific action took place, like someone signing a digital contract or approving $1 million wire transfer, so that they cannot come back later and claim, "Hey, I never did that." It ensures absolute legal and technical accountability. You can't deny it and you can't dispute it. So authenticity and non-repudiation ultimately culminate in digital trust. And the key takeaway here is that trust in our modern digital world is not a simple binary switch of trusted versus untrusted. It is a dynamic, ongoing continuum. A strong organization is constantly assessing behavior, checking compliance, monitoring for weird anomalies, and continuously adapting. Digital trust is the measurable level of confidence an organization maintains over time, actively proving that their ecosystem is secure, compliant, and resilient. Okay, so now that we know what we're actually trying to protect, the CIA triad and digital confidence, how do we pull this off in the real world? Well, this is governed by 5 interdependent elements: asset, vulnerability, threat, risk, and control. Now, please don't just think of these as a static vocabulary list to memorize. Instead, I want you to think of them as the fast-moving, cascading engine of an organization's entire security posture. Let me show you exactly how these pieces interact. Picture a typical office layout for a second. This maps these abstract tech concepts directly to physical reality. Your asset is the computer sitting on the desk. It holds highly valuable data. A vulnerability is the unlocked door to that office. It's an internal weakness. The threat is the burglar actively walking down the hall, looking to steal the computer. When that burglar spots the unlocked door and targets the computer, now you have a tangible risk, the actual likelihood of theft occurring. Finally, the control, or safeguard, is the security guard you hired to monitor that door, effectively stopping the threat from ever exploiting the vulnerability. So the crucial point here is how these elements trigger a very real chain reaction that maps directly to business operations. A threat actor gives rise to a threat. That threat aggressively seeks out and tries to exploit a vulnerability. If they're successful, that vulnerability completely compromises an asset. And the compromise of that asset, well, that spirals directly into a severe business risk. We're talking heavy financial loss, massive reputational damage, or total operational downtime. To stop this cascading failure, we introduce a firm safeguard or control, which directly stops the threat agent and counters the exposure. It's a continuous, never-ending, cyclical battle. Which really brings us full circle today. As you've seen, information security isn't just about throwing piles of money at complex cybersecurity software. It's about building a holistic strategy that protects the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your assets against very real threats. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought, tying right back to our Colonial Pipeline story at the start. You might have the best, most expensive firewalls in the entire world, but who is managing your dormant passwords? What forgotten, totally mundane vulnerability is sitting in your organization right now, just waiting for a threat to turn it into a massive risk? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.